So basically, as I've been listening to everybody's presentations today, I've kind of got an easy job, because if I just take snippets of everybody's, that's my presentation done. So it's been interesting to listen to everybody, and I've been thinking, that's what I was going to say, that's what I was going to say. So thanks, guys, for stealing my thunder. But I'll just begin by sharing, hopefully, my screen. Just bear with me. I've kind of got a bit of a dual screen, so I'm not the world's best at this. There we go. Okay, can somebody just, yeah, brilliant, thanks, Claire. Okay, so what we've just done is we've more or less put a bit of a Padlet together around sort of like our experience of the research. We've also used a Padlet, we're kind of a bit Padlet mad at the moment, for our tutors to reflect on their experience after each class, and that's been really successful. But I'll just sort of like hopefully talk through it and not take up too much of people's times. So our initial thought was around supporting low-level ESOL learners through that EDS and possibly the EDS qualification. We aimed it at entry 2, so all the learners were currently entry 2 learners with us in dedicated ESOL provision. Because it was part of an action research project, we also had, I would say, a luxury of being able to co-teach it. So we were able to pull on the experience of the ESOL tutor and pull on the experience of the IT tutor to deliver the digital element of it. Our project was grand and probably a little too far, too much, too soon. So after the first session, and again we've kind of touched on this this morning when Kate was saying about having to keep doing things and you know, struggling with learners logging on and repeating that process. So when the tutor was talking about things like scrolling and browsers, we were just blowing the ESOL learners' minds. It was too much terminology. They couldn't understand the concepts of it all. So what we had to do was refocus our minds and decided to look and refocus around terminology. Let's get those first steps right before we try and move the learners onto something that's too advanced at their current stage. It's important, I think, that we do use that terminology right from the beginning, but obviously we've got to sort of like meet the learners where they are at that point. So like I said, we did have 2 tutors working together. That was something new. That was something different. Really, really, really has been successful. So I have had permission to share this by one of the tutors. So it's a shame Catherine from the ETF isn't still here, because I'm sure with her IT background she'd be able to kind of relate to this. So our tutor started with this document, and for anybody that teaches, you know, all the ESOL specialists will be going, oh my word, or people that teach IT will be like, oh, that's a standard thing. So this is kind of what came out.
Diane?
Yep.
Sorry, we were still on your Padlet.
Oh, sorry, bear with me. Hang on a minute, do I have to do a new share? Oh yeah, got it now, hopefully. Oh, there we go. Yeah. Is that looking better, Chloe?
Brill, yeah.
Yeah. So, like I say, anybody that's kind of has got an IT background, this is your standard kind of handout. So this is what was produced. Our ESOL tutor went, whoa, 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 we're talking entry 2 learners. No, we need to dumb it down, you know, change it a little bit. So what we did was then it turned into this document. And then even then, we got advice from our ESOL tutor that said, no, still too text heavy. So with the 2 tutors working together, we then finally came up with hoping I can find it because it's the best one. Aha. With something that now resembles what we are actually using and is absolutely suitable for the level of learners that we're now working with. So I think for me, the collaboration between the ESOL tutors and IT tutors meant that we went from something that was really text heavy that would work for level 1, level 2 IT learners to something that now is suitable for ESOL learners, but I feel as though it's got some longevity to it, because if it's suitable for E2 ESOL learners, it also means that it's suitable for entry 1, entry 2 English learners, maths learners. And I know you all know EDS starts at entry 3, and you know, people, my colleagues have been talking about having to do some non-accredited stuff at a lower level, and for me, entry 3 is too high. I think there's, you know, this concept has got to be grounded and understood before you can even start to look at some of the EDS qualifications that's kind of out there. So I just did, let me get back to that one. So we've got, you'll be able to read this in a little bit more sort of like length and everything. But I think for me, the things that we've got is we've come up now with a product or the starts of a product that we can use with all learners. I think the biggie for me, which was not part of the research, I think the things that I really like is the things that have come out of the research that weren't even part of the research to start with. So we've now got collaboration with tutors. We set up a Padlet where the tutors reflected on each of their sessions each week, so the core taught, and then they reflected on the sessions. Now, it's easy to reflect in the privacy of your own head, your own thoughts, on your own session plan at the end of a session. To actually share that reflection with colleagues, and those tutors were sharing it with the managers and people like me. So that for me is a big thing. But what I'd like to say, and it's a shame that they're not here today, but what I would like to say is because of their open, their honesty, their transparency, those reflections became real and meaningful, and it meant that we could use that information to move forward and to change our way going forward. In the middle of the, it was only, again, short, very similar to what my colleagues have done, so very, very similar to Haringey. It was a short 5-week course. And what we did was halfway through, we talked to some of our learners, and my colleague Susie did an interview, a video interview. So when you get a chance to look in more detail at the Padlets, if you go down, we've got sort of like a short video there of one of our tutors explaining some of the learners' achievements and how she felt that the digital skills that the learners had gained was also supporting what she was doing in the ESOL class and supporting their ESOL learning as well. So that was really good. And then we've got some little short videos around what the learners said, and we asked them three questions. What did they find useful, what they can do now, and what they're going to use in the future? And they were all saying that they were really happy with the class. They were saying what they'd learned. They were saying how they were using it and how they were thinking to use it as they moved at some point in the future into employment. So that was really quite key. So there's little snippets of videos there that you can watch in your own time. And then, but I think learning from this project, it meant that we've been able to look at the delivery, look at how we move that forward, look at how we work more collaborative. You know, we've talked about ACL and kind of working a little bit in silos, and you know, if you're a peripatetic tutor, you probably don't see your colleagues, and I think it's probably got worse because we have been in lockdown, so everybody's suddenly been working from their own living rooms, dining rooms, whatever, so probably having even less contact. So I think that's why the collaborative Padlet helped to be able to, for both the tutors to bring their ideas forward. And like I said, because they were open and honest, that really made that Padlet really strong. And I have taken quite a lot of a bit really kind of plagiarism, shall we say. I'm not ashamed. It's like you were saying right at the beginning, you know, it's kind of pinching ideas. So I've used a lot of the words that those tutors have used and have been really open to share. And again, it was something new to them. There were two tutors that had never really worked together in anything, and they've got on brilliantly, you know, from my IT tutor producing that really quite lengthy Word document, which would have worked in IT, to where she got, would not have happened without the support of the ESOL tutor. And I think for me, it's really made me realise how we do need to work more collaboratively. And like I said, because we are now working a little bit more in isolation, it's thinking of some good ideas to be able to bring us all back together and get us to work more collaboratively. Because I think, you know, looking at the original Padlet and kind of what I've produced here, there is a lot of cut and paste, and there's a lot of the tutors being open and honest. We now know where we're going to go. It is definitely essential that everybody has the digital skills. You know, we've said it's for work, we've said it's for life, it's for home life and developing. So I think it is important that we use the learning. You know, we've had the luxury, as I keep saying, of the funding to be able to co-teach it. You know, I know in normal circumstances, that's definitely not sort of like something that we can do going forward. But I think we learn from that, and we learn and we move that and put that forward into our new classes and our different way that we're sort of like going to work. I think one of the things as well, we were talking about digital in different classes. We've just developed our digital strategy. Again, I think everybody 12 months ago was kind of pushed into it quite quickly, and it was something that I've sort of like kept putting on the back burner, but it sort of like made me do it. And what we've done is we've used some of the EDS framework and embedded those skills into the vocational areas. So even if you're doing a TA course or an early years course, or you're doing maths, depending on the course, you will also be given some of those digital skills within your learning as well. So we've tried to embed some of the EDS framework within our normal vocational provision. And then for anybody that wants to develop their EDS skills further and higher and more, then we've got the discrete provision where it's just purely focused on EDS that we can signpost learners to. We've also been able to share good practice within our staff development weeks. So we've shared that between the IT and the ESOL team, and then that's something that we'll put forward and move into sort of like the wider service remit in our one of our future staff development sessions. And last but not least, we were quite fortunate. The learners made absolute amazing progress once they got on the way. They did learning between the sessions, which the tutors have commented on. And we've been able to accredit them with entry 1 digital skills qualification. So again, that's really nice that they've got something on their CV to show that they've done some recent learning, and also a little step on the way with an actual qualification.